All right. Okay, professions and jobs. The topic.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, then start. I'm not interfering.
Okay, let's dive right in. Before we get started, I would like Julia to introduce herself in a few sentences.
Well, I'm 23 years old. I don't know, I recently graduated from university. Now I'm looking for a job and studying a little. I don't know, like to draw.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like art too. I paint myself. This is one of my paintings. It's in watercolors. I also teach art at school. I can maybe show you.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
beautiful work.
yeah. So let's get started. Uh, what do you do for a living? Do you have a job,
Me?
Julia? Yeah.
Right now I don't have a job. I only have part-time, like for one work. Like I have payment for something I made, and not like constantly paid like that.
So it's not a part-time job. It's sort of like a contract.
Contract.
You're
Yeah.
a contractor. I
Mhm.
see. Or like a project. Russians like to use the word project. Alina, remind me what you do again.
I'm a communication designer.
Communication designer. Ah, for an advertising company.
For IT company.
For an IT company. I see. Okay, great. So let's get started. Let me share my screen. 1 second. And let's see. So let's answer these 3 questions. Maybe we can take turns. There are a few photos that I would like to show you, and then I would like you to speculate on what that person does, okay, for a living. So these are jobs that are no longer viable or necessary in the job market. I'm sure there are a few professionals who still do these things for some one reason or another. I, for example, do this sometimes because I shoot film and develop film at home. So, but it's not a job really, but it used to be. What do you think this is? I don't know if you've seen the film, by the way. This is Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, and yeah, let's talk a little bit about this job. Alina, maybe you can start.
I don't know how this job is called, but I will speculate.
Okay.
It is something about film and manipulations with it. Maybe some photo engineering. I don't know, something like that.
Mm-hmm. What did he do?
Or maybe it's about cinematography. Maybe it's a cinema film, but I think it's not correct millimeters.
No, cinema can be even smaller than this. Cinema comes in 16, which is smaller than what he's handling. This is 35 millimeter film, which is most cameras have this. This is a full frame format. It can be bigger, like a 65
100.
millimeter or 70 millimeter recently. We're going to talk about the 70 millimeter format in another picture. We have another profession that went extinct. So yeah, so it could be anything. Judging by the number, I mean, the film is about somebody who handles like home film, sort of like 36 frame reel of 35 millimeter film, commonly used in just mass produced cameras of the late 1990s.
Yes, I have one too, but I like take it. How should I say проявлять фотографии?
Develop.
Develop.
Yeah.
But I develop them in special studios because I don't know how, and I'm kind of scared to lose my photos.
It's not very complicated. You just need a couple of tools and chemicals. I use something called the C41 process, and there are lots of tutorials on YouTube on how to do it at home. And it's really simple enough. You just have to take the plunge and do one film. Start with black and white, and then work your way up, basically to the C41, and you'll be okay. Yeah. And in Russia, the chemicals can be bought for, not a lot of money. So you don't have to buy a kit, a branded kit. There are lots of people on Avito, for example, that sell those chemicals and they prepare them at home. It's a little bit kind of risky and shady and, sketchy.
Yes.
But still, I kind of like the results that I'm getting from, you know, um, unbranded chemicals, so to speak.
Mm.
Yeah. So the term is actually film developer. And yeah, they developed film, they handled the film, the materials, they spliced the film, cut it, sometimes got rid of the frames that are no good, and printed the film on photo paper, basically, and handed the film. Honestly, 1 hour photo is a great film and one of the best performances, I think, of Robin Williams. Yeah, highly recommended. Why did this job disappear? Yulia, why do you think this job disappeared?
I guess right now we have like more complicated technology, like new technologies.
Mhm.
And so in industry, they don't use this anymore. So there's no need for film developer.
That is true. I mean, most people don't shoot film anymore, and film cameras are but almost obsolete. So it's sort of like there has been a resurrection or a resurgence in the use of film recently, because some celebrities started using film cameras on late night shows in the United States, namely Kendall Jenner. And people started buying them because it's cool, and TikTok played a huge role in the resurgence of film, and lots of people are now shooting film, which really made the prices of film go really um, high. Sort of like now they've soared to the point where it isn't really viable or affordable or sort of like reasonable to financially
I
to
saw these
shoot.
prices. It is it is really expensive.
It's really expensive. Yeah.
I started to take photos on my film camera like in 2017 when I went to university, because everyone in my design school were like so cool and taking this picture, so I wanted to fit in, but I really liked it in process. But now I see these prices and I'm furious.
Yeah. Yeah. So it can set you back maybe 2,000 rubles to just buy a roll of film that shoots 36 frames. And that's just too much money, I think. Yeah,
Yes.
but it's interesting and fun to do. And yeah, it has that film feel to it. But there are other ways to get that film feel. Now I shoot digital and I buy older cameras and digicams and sort of like CCD sensors. So there is a way to sort of like replicate that same feel. And yeah, it can be done somehow digitally. So it disappeared because of digital cameras and the ease of use and the efficiency and cost effectiveness of digital cameras. Now let's move on to another picture, and let's ask Yulia this time to tell us about this picture. Sorry, I need to select the mouse again. So we're talking about this person over here.
Well, I also don't know what this profession called, but that people that helps you in hotels,
Uh-huh.
like that, like working staff that take your baggage, maybe help you find your room, help you in some other ways like that.
Yeah, I mean, these are different professions. They're all dressed the same. So this lobby boy over here,
Mhm.
does, I mean, he's wearing pretty much the same, almost the same thing as the other person, but he doesn't really do the same job. So what does this person do? I mean, it's clear from the picture.
Lifting the lift.
Lifting the lift. Yes, he's a lift operator.
Mm.
And why do you think this job existed?
Because of the system, like how the lift worked that time before. I don't really know how it worked.
And why did it disappear?
Also because of new technologies, digital, not digital, like electronic things. That.
Correct. Do you recognize the film?
Yeah, I saw it, but I can't remember the name. It's definitely one of most beautiful films, like visually, that I saw.
Yes, correct. Alina, do you want to help your friend?
This is Hotel Grand Budapest.
Grand Budapest
By
Hotel, yes.
Budapest by Wes Anderson. I love him.
Yeah, he's great. He has a very interesting color palette. And by the way, you were right about Wittgenstein. So it can be Wittgenstein, Wittgenstein. I say Wittgenstein at like as in Bruce Springsteen. I mean, this is sort of like an American way of saying the same thing. Yeah, but you were right. I had never heard the name pronounced. I had only read David Foster Wallace's essay on Wittgenstein's Mistress, which is a novel that sort of like it wasn't written by Wittgenstein himself, but it was inspired by his philosophy. Okay.
Actually, I remember that I read Derek Jarman's book about color, and he also speaks about Wittgenstein, but he like fantasizes about him. It is a really interesting way to perceive his philosophy.
Maybe. Okay, so why did this job disappear? Because of good design, essentially. So now lifts know where to stop, and we have buttons instead of these levers, and yeah, now it's we have better, smarter design. And it's no longer a novelty. Whenever something is new, we feel like we should hire somebody to operate it. And then when it comes commonplace and sort of like everywhere, it's no longer special, basically. Now, this one is kind of interesting. I'll be very impressed, to be honest, if you manage to guess what this picture is or what this man's job is. Alina, do you want to hazard a guess?
I think no. This is the person who wakes up people. I think I read about it. He just like
knocks
knocks in the windows of people.
Correct. So the name is Knocker Upper. Yeah, Knocker Upper, which really sounds weird, you know, given the different meaning that the word knock up has taken. Yeah. What about, of course, this job no longer exists because of alarm clocks. Julia, what do you think these ladies are doing?
Actually, at first I thought that it's some kind like then women typed things after something saying, but it's look like more complicated than that. So I don't really know.
Alina?
No, I have no idea. I have a couple of guesses, like it's about some war stuff, maybe like radio. I don't know, but they look too happy for this job. So maybe something with telecommunications.
Yeah. So these are switchboard operators, and they basically, back in the day when you wanted to call somebody, somebody had to play an intermediary role and plug the right plug essentially into the right socket for the connection to happen, and that was a person essentially. So, and it was the case up until the 1960s. So your war theory is true. And yeah, but it no longer exists. You can see it in like old Prohibition era movies about, gangs, Chicago, John Dillinger, stuff like that, 50s, 60s. Yeah. No, it no longer exists because this process has long been automated. Let's breeze through the remaining ones. What is the name of this, or what was this professional called?
Like writer, but writer for someone, like maybe he like write down the historical events or something that he want to pass in the future, like that.
Correct. And why did this profession disappear? By the way, the term is scribe, and it was a highly, highly respected profession. Their main job was to actually copy religious texts and write down laws, document, data that had to do with the economy, basically, and crops and stuff like that. Why did it disappear?
More people learn how to write and spell, first of all, and then I don't know, also technology, like
Technology, sure.
Most important revolution of Gutenberg.
Gutenberg, yes.
Gutenberg. I'm
I say Gutenberg, yeah. Yeah. So moving on, this next one I think is a video. No, one more picture. Interesting.
Like milkman that.
Correct. And what did he do?
They delivered milk to your house, like on some kind of timetable. Is schedule. It's better.
Yeah. They delivered milk with at a precise interval, basically, with regularity. And most importantly, also they collected empty bottles. And this profession disappeared because of the invention of this magical material we now call plastic. And now we have disposable bottles. And we no longer need to take the bottles back to the farm, basically, or to the producer. And the milkman played both roles, which is collecting the expensive glass bottles, cleaning them, sort of like filling them up and bringing them back to the customer. Now, here's a video. Just pay attention and try to pick up what the actual profession is, okay? I need to share sound 1 second.
I'm Wayne Indyke. I'm the chief projectionist here at the IMAX Theater at the Indiana State Museum. We have the largest screen in the state. It's 60 feet tall, 84 feet wide. And when we run IMAX film, the portions of the film that were shot with IMAX cameras fill that screen entirely.
We are thrilled to welcome all of you here for the opening night of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer.
This is print number 25 of Oppenheimer in IMAX film. It arrived in 53 reels that I spliced together over the course of 3 days. I love handling film, so I really enjoyed the process of putting together the film. It's 70 millimeter film, so the frame size is about that big. That's 3 times the size of regular 70 millimeter and about 10 times the size of 35 millimeter, which is what was in most theaters before they switched to digital. Because of the frame size, it's going about 350 feet per minute. It goes through a lot of film very fast. I'm told it's about 11 miles long. Unrolled. And actually, this film is the longest IMAX film ever. We had to put extensions on the platters to be able to fit it. The maximum length we could play before was about 2 hours and 48 minutes, and this one is slightly over 3 hours. That size is what makes this experience here unique, at least among the 30 theaters that are showing it that way. My first experience with film that really changed the way I looked at it was seeing 2001 in a Cinerama theater when it came out in '68. That was a formative experience for me. It changed what I thought movies could be. It was much more of an experience than just watching a show. IMAX is kind of a continuation of that. It's a big screen, it's a massive experience, and it's so much more than what you're going to see if you watch it on TV at home.
Sorry about that. So what was that guy's job?
Something production. I didn't catch the first word.
Okay, Alina?
Projectionist, I think it said in the
Injectionist.
yes.
He does injections. I don't think this is projection. Sure. He's a projectionist. A projectionist is somebody who operates an analog projector. An analog projector is basically a lamp that shines light through semi-translucent reels of celluloid film, developed celluloid film. And this is a profession that has gone extinct basically, that went extinct basically 15 years ago, but with the resurgence again of certain kinds of film, in this case Oppenheimer, which was shot on 70 millimeter film, which is the largest format possible and the hardest to handle and the hardest to shoot. I think I think they had that film projected in analog film in only 30 cinemas, 30 screens worldwide. 20 of them are actually inside the United States, and the remaining 10 are somewhere in Europe and maybe in Canada, maybe Europe, maybe China, I'm not really sure. But yeah, most of us watched Oppenheimer in digital format, some form of digital projection. So it wasn't really the real thing. It was an approximation of it. Yeah, have you seen the film?
No.
No. How about you, Alina? Yeah, I haven't. I'm still waiting for it to come out on Blu-ray. I don't want to spoil it and watch it sort of in Russian. I'll just wait for the English version to become available, and I'll watch it at home. I know it's not going to be like an IMAX 70 millimeter analog projection experience, but yeah, that's what I have access to basically. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about you. Question number 1, Yulia, go ahead.
What do you do for living? Well, I'm a 3D artist. Actually, I make 3D models for mostly for games, like creatures, like environment stuff, and other. I really like what I'm doing. It's one of the most comfortable design area for me. because at first I was trying to be like the programmer, but it didn't work out. About keeping the same job for the rest of my life, I don't know. I'm only 23, so I can see what will change in some years, maybe 10, maybe 12 stuff. So, but I like what I'm doing right now, so I will keep to it for some years. Yes.
Fair enough. What programs do you use to design, if you don't mind me asking?
ZBrush, Blender. Now I learning like Maya. Yeah, Maya.
Maya, yeah. Maya is the oldest one, by the way. So it came before everything else, and then came ZBrush, and then recently Blender. Blender has always been free, but it wasn't really as user-friendly or as maybe as functional as the others. But recently, with they've really come a long way. Okay, Alina.
As I said, I'm communication designer in IT company. I like my job. I like my job as a designer, as a graphic designer, but I don't like my occupation right now. I'm kind of tired of it. Um, but perceive my career. I think the world is so is to delve in different fields. So I believe I will change my career sometime. Maybe I'll become urban studies or something like that. Maybe philosopher. Maybe I will go to the monastery. I don't know.
Become a monk. Yeah. Okay. Iul, question number 2. We'll take turns. When you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an architect, I guess, but I don't really think that was my idea. It was mostly idea of my grandmother, who always wanted to be an architect, but she grew up as like a projecting roads and stuff in
That's
this
a
city.
civil engineer. Civil
Maybe.
engineer. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what happens. Sometimes when parents fail at becoming what they've always wanted to become, they give up and then they settle down, have babies, and then try to get their children to follow in their footsteps and sort of like achieve their dreams, but not their own dreams, sort of like the children's own dreams, which is a pity, to be honest, because this never works out. Alina.
I always wanted to be an artist, and actually, graphic designer is my dream job. I haven't had any restrictions from my mom, so I became open-minded in this area, like job, occupation. So I'm really grateful for it.
Great. Number 3, maybe Alina again can answer.
I believe that it is really important, but I'm not a big supporter of socializing with them too much, because they're still just colleagues, and sometimes you're not choosing them. But if you found someone who is like really great, like I found my many friends at my current job, it is just as fine as a friend outside from work, I would say.
Yeah.
Great, Julia.
I definitely agree with Alina. I guess that having the comfort environment in your workplace is really important. So you need to get along with your coworkers, but sometimes it can be really hard. And about socializing with them, I don't really know because, yeah, sometimes you can find really good friends there. But if you will have some maybe arguments, some problems with your relationships with them outside the job, maybe it can be problem like while working. But I never had such a situation, so I can't say something for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you sort of like try and socialize, when you socialize with your coworkers or colleagues outside of the office, you're really walking a fine line of a professional between a professional relationship and friendship. And if either one of these, let's just say they quit their job and now you're stuck with a friend that you don't see as often as you used to, or maybe you fall out with your friend and now you have to see them every day at work and it becomes a little uncomfortable. So, yeah, I think it's better not to socialize with colleagues outside of work. Barring, of course, some corporate parties and things that you do as a team. Yeah, number 4 is kind of interesting. That's why I picked it. Julia.
It's, I guess, also a complicated question. The thing I said about socializing is also true for this, because you have relationships with someone and it can affect your relationships at work. But I don't think that you can stop yourself from falling in love sometimes. Like it's not something that you can rational stop. So I don't know. I don't know what to say here, to be honest.
Alina.
It screams HR violation.
Yeah,
That's
it reeks of HR violation.
yes.
Yeah, so the thing is, lots of companies, they have restrictions on office romances because they know that it can have some dire repercussions down the road, and they always require their employees to disclose any such interactions if they ever occur to HR, and then they try to sort of like see for themselves whether or not it would be a good idea for these two employees to continue to work together, because it's not only a violation of HR rules, it's also it can create some situations where there is a conflict of interest, and sometimes the couple, they act in their own interest and not the interest of the company for whatever reason. And if one of them quits, then the other will is probably soon to follow or will follow suit eventually. And yeah, I think it's not a good idea. Yeah, amongst colleagues, and even a worse idea between like an employee and a superior or a subordinate, meaning a boss or somebody who works for you or under you at the company. Yeah, not a great idea. Number 5, Julia.
Well, I see myself as an ambitious person, but like not too much. I think I want to someday to work on free AAA projects like that, because nowadays I only can work on something small like mobile games and stuff.
Let me just explain what AAA means. So games, they have ratings, and the highest rating for a game is a AAA game. Like Forza, for example, is a AAA game. Call of Duty is a AAA game. These are games that are very complicated and are very popular, basically. These are the ones that win awards. But maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that, on what AAA really means. Go ahead.
Elaborate.
Elaborate. Explain a little bit more.
Okay. Well, it's actually like huge, famous game with good, mostly great. What does it mean? Like quality, like the graphic, the sounds effect, the plot and stuff. For example, Horizons or not Horizon something. Okay, never mind. Yeah, just really great games for me. But talking about ambitious, I like never wanted to be famous because I think it's scary some way. Not like that.
Okay, thank you. Alina?
I believe that I'm an ambitious person, but not the type that walks on people's heads. I see I see that too much, and my head was walked on. I think this is the correct phrase. I don't know, but I want to become senior in my career, because it means that I have more responsibilities, and I want and I strive to become an art director. But if I don't like it, and if I don't like this experience, I will go back just to graphic designer, or maybe choose another path. So it's not like this concrete decision.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that was the right term or phrase that you used. Maybe it exists. I think it does. But what you meant was you don't want to climb the corporate ladder at somebody else's expense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have this experience right now, and I'm just furious. I never I would never done this for anybody, to anybody.
Yeah. So what you mean is that some people try and sort of like get a promotion by throwing other people under the bus, if you know what that means. Or like, yeah, it does happen a lot. Yeah. I don't think I'm a very ambitious person. I do have certain goals, but they're not really very ambitious. I don't think that opening one's own business or one's own school or one's own sort of like place of work, it could be a family business, which, by the way, with question number 4, I wanted to touch on this thing. There's really nothing wrong with creating a family business with your own partner. It's just that when the romance takes place after the fact, you've been working for the same company for a while, and then one thing leads to another. That's when problems sort of like start to arise. Yeah, I do have certain goals, but I don't think that I'm very ambitious. Of course, I would love to write the next great American novel or something, maybe publish something at some point. Even a children's book is just good enough for me. Yeah, so I'll probably do that at some point. Now, moving on to question number 6, Julia.
I guess I would still prefer my profession. I really like what I'm doing right now, so yeah, I wouldn't choose something else.
You would pick the exact same job, right?
Yeah.
So not florist or like astronaut or any of these other jobs, right?
Not really.
What about you, Alina?
I actually imagined what would I do if I wasn't if I weren't able to do my designer job. And I think I will prefer to maybe tend to animals needs, like in countryside. Maybe work with kids. No, not the conditionals.
Yeah, no, it's a hypothetical. So
Mhm.
normally we use was with I, but
Mhm.
since it's a hypothetical, we use were. So very similar to if I were you. Sorry, I don't like to teach a lot of grammar during these. I would do this and that. Okay, if I weren't, I wouldn't, so on and so forth. Yeah. So here in this case, were is the right verb to use.
But I thought that we can use was still. It is still correct.
It is still
So
correct, but
where is preferred.
it it isn't proper. I wouldn't say so with hypotheticals. If I was you, this is what native speakers say all the time,
Mhm.
but that doesn't make it correct. So it's not grammatical. I mean, grammatically correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that I lost the thread. To be honest, could you please remind me what your answer was, very quickly?
Uh, I would tend to animals, maybe to their needs, like in countryside, or maybe work with children with autism. With I don't know how it's correctly called in English, like RAS in Russian.
What does it stand for? It sounds like an acronym.
Yes, I can say it in
Uh-huh.
Russian. Расстройство аутичного спектра.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
This is
like
autism.
correct. Yes.
So when we say somebody is on the spectrum for Asperger's, or I don't even know how to spell Asperger's, or autism. So it means they do exhibit some of the signs or the hallmarks of that particular condition, but we're not really sure how serious it is. And it is a spectrum, and there are numbers to that. So back in the day, it used to be a diagnosis. So you either have it or not, but it isn't that simple. So now we say somebody is on the spectrum for something, a certain condition. Yeah. Yeah. I actually work with children. I teach at a normal school in the morning. I teach like 6 or 7 hours a day. I teach English and art. And yeah, I love my job. I like watching videos of also sort of like people working with animals, like uh, people shearing sheep. This is the most
Yes.
satisfying thing ever.
But it's not very humane, actually. Read some text and realized that it's not that cute as I thought it was. So it
but
was like eye-opening experience.
but the sheep don't seem to mind. Yeah, I think sheep that are
Depends on
bred for that particular purpose, I mean, they kind of have to shear them or like kill them humanely to,
yes.
yeah, um, put them out of their misery. But yeah, I still think it's kind of cool to watch somebody do something like that, like change the horseshoe on a horse. Or
Yeah,
like,
this is the
yeah,
most satisfying thing I saw on the
ever.
internet.
Okay. Julia,
Yeah.
number 7. What is the job market like at the moment? How high is unemployment in your country? So let's discuss Russia in a few sentences.
Well, I think it depends on the professions. Like a lot of my friends are IT specialists, so they don't have that much problem because there are still a lot of places that you can be hired. But I know that a lot of people lost their jobs. Know someone who lost all of their money, like they had a business and it completely like died. I don't know how to say.
Was she an influencer?
Uh,
So that's probably one of the very few cases where you lose everything. So it had to be fully dependent on the on websites basically that pay for views. Could be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really like not stable job, I should say.
I see.
So mostly, yeah, there are a lot of problems, and most problems for like appeared a year ago. Yeah, like that.
Okay, maybe we can just call it a day. Stop right here, and we'll meet again maybe in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much for attending this meeting. And I had a great time, to be honest, discussing this topic. I thought it would be a little boring because normally I go for something that's a little bit more edgy or controversial. And we'll get there at some point. And yeah, once we run out of the maybe easy ones or boring ones.
Yes, thank you very much for a very interesting session. I was also participating with my camera off though. So yeah, thank you a lot. Then our next meeting with you will be on the 18th of November. Am I right?
How could you not be right?
Oh, excellent. I like it. I like the answer.
Very
Right.
diplomatic.
Okay. Then wish everyone a nice day. And next week we've got lectures, grammar lectures. Right. Take care and see you.
See you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.